because as we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there's some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
Yes, yes, yes. This is Boxing Talk with Raphie. And damn, the notification came through quick. We are officially live. Let me see. Let me do a sound check. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Okay. So, where are we? Okay. So, you are in tune to Boxing Talk with Raphie 116. Entitled Wilder, I felt like a zombie. Damn. And yeah. Will Jefe return? Is this Jefe's return? Said he would do it again Monday night. That's tonight. But he said he'd leave details in the in the comment section of the show last week. But alas, there is no. I haven't seen any messages. As a matter of fact, hold on. Let me do this live. Let me go over and check as we speak. See what's happening. Did he leave a message? What was that one? That was last Monday. Oh yeah. Boxing Talk with Raphie 114. Let me go into that and look through the comment section. Scrolling down. No message from Jefe. But I don't know. Maybe he could pay a surprise visit. Maybe he's gonna spring a surprise. Is Jefe back up? Is he back up the mountain? Or has he come down the mountain yet? Has Jefe descended the mountain? I really don't know. That's the question. That is the question. Okay, but anyway, as we do over here, let me get into a warming video. Let me go to a warming video to allow the area to populate. Let's have a look what we got. I had to decide this live on the show. Don't like to be too premeditated about everything. I like to leave some room for improvisation. Let's have a look what we like. Damn, all my videos have been kind of long recently. What the hell is going on? We're struggling. Suleiman's response to Ruiz. Okay, that might work. Yeah, I think George Foreman not training Deontay Wilder. Okay, that seems topical. Since we're going to be talking about Deontay Wilder very, very shortly. Yeah. Wilder Fury off till October. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, so let me line this up. Let's get this lined up. Straight from the beginning. Okay. warming video so people know what they're seeing. Let's drop the link in the chat. Okay, so that's in. Share this screen. Cut the music. And boom. Yes, yes, yes. It's the Raphie Dawkins with the Combat Radio. And today we look at Fury Wilder 3 and whether it's likely to happen in July. Aaron, whose company co-promotes Fury, suggested that the third fight could happen as late as early October because of the COVID-19 outbreak, which has caused so much uncertainty throughout the sporting world. Well, actually, the world in general. You couldn't even guarantee that the fighters can get to the event. Right about now, Tyson Fury's in the UK, and there's a travel ban from the UK to the USA. So Brits can't even get into the USA right about now. And we don't know when that situation will change. Okay, so everybody has to take a step back, said Aaron, because boxing is not isolated. It's part of what's happening throughout the sporting world. Aaron added that his company has been in close contact with Wilder's advisor, Al Heyman, about pushing back the pay-per-view event. Al and his people are in touch with us all the time, says Aaron. We see things the same way. We'll be very, very cautious moving ahead and pray that this will be over at a particular time. So they've got a particular time frame, new time frame. And we'll be able, hopefully, to make smart plans. No one has ever experienced anything like this before. Okay, so those were the words of Bob Arum. And if Bob Arum at 88 is saying that he's never seen anything like this before, then you can rest assured we haven't seen anything like this COVID-19 pandemic in certainly this generation, maybe not the previous generation either. So it's highly unfortunate, but it looks like Fury Wilder 3 takes place in October, early October. What can you say about that? Very, very unfortunate, but to be quite frank, it's not really a surprise because with this pandemic, it's pushed everything back. It's pushed all sporting. It's pushed the whole sporting calendar back. Looks like it's pushed the Olympics back. That might take place now. A portion of that might take place now in 2021. So I can't remember the last time the Olympics got pushed back by a year. It's crazy, crazy stuff. What can I say? It just prolongs. It just prolongs the agony. You know, everybody who follows the heavyweight division is waiting anxiously to see who's going to step up and step into the ring with Anthony Joshua. So, which champion's going to do that so that the undisputed fight gets underway and we can have one king standing on top of the heavyweight division without the fractured, Joshua being the unified champion, Fury being the WBC champ. We want one king. One king. Okay, so What else? What else is there to say? I think it's all been said. No Fury Wilder until possibly as far back into 2020 as October, early October. Highly unfortunate. What can we do? The pandemic has kicked in, and the whole sporting calendar simply has to wait to see what happens. So, in a nutshell, no Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder in July. More likely to happen early October. So we've got a bit of a wait. Where are we now? Where is it? March? What's that? 6 months? 7 months? Damn. But at least we've at least this gives Deontay Wilder a chance to maybe acquire some new skills, because you know that flicking jab is going to be all up in his face. There it is. You know he's going to be having to deal with that flicking jab and the cuffs, the slaps, the jabs and the slaps. Will Deontay Wilder be ready? Now he's got extra time to prepare. A lot of people were saying he hasn't got enough time, but he's got like what? He's got 7 months now, plus the time he's had already. Here he's going on holiday to Africa, Nigeria specifically, so he can go out there and, you know, recharge the batteries, get some good nutrition, get some good nutrition in the system, recharge, recoup, re-energize, and then come back, get back into camp. But who's going to be training Deontay? Said he was going to talk to George Foreman. As he spoke to George Foreman, that's all gone quiet. I didn't believe it. I don't know. Is Deontay Wilder going to change up his training camp? Is he going to change up his training camp to get ready for this shizzle? One can only wait and see. It's the Raphie Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares. And will Tyson Fury UCAD situation be cleared by then? Does it even matter? Does it even matter if Tyson Fury does Tyson Fury revoked his British Boxing Board of Control license? Okay, we shall see. Deontay Wilder's got more time to train, more time to prepare. Will that change anything? It's the Boxing Talk with Raphie on Mondays and Wednesdays. Actually, this week it's going to be Thursday, which is tonight, 10 p.m. UK time. How you will say? It's the Raphie Dawkins, the Combat Radio, and I'm out. Okay, so warm-in video completed, mission completed. So let's get back into the show proper and get into the right screen. Combat Radio. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's see what's going on. Let's do the roll call. Where's the link? Put the link in the chat again. Boom. And let's get into, before we go into the first subject, the first topic, let me write that up. What is it going to be? What's it gonna be? Okay, we're going to have a warm-in topic before we get to the zombie story. This looks good. This looks good. 29 years later. Let me copy that. Make the banner. Boom. 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 Okay. So, Foreman Holyfield. Yeah, I think we're going to start with that. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do nicely. Let's upload that pic. Let's upload that pic. Boom. All right. Okay. So, where are we? Yes. Let's get into the comments before we get into the first. Let's get into the comments before we get into the first topic. As a matter of fact, let me write another banner. Maybe I can lure him out. Tease him out. Where is Jefe? Okay, so where is Jefe? I don't know. Give me a little time to come in, but we're carrying on with the show in the meantime. Okay, buckle in. Everybody should be buckled in by now. What else we got? Jefe is on top of the mountain. Damn. Hasn't he come down yet? Surely. Jefe, where are you? Okay. Yes, Philip Carl Roberts in the building. Let me drop the link in the chat until our special guest arrives, if he does arrive. But the show goes on. Okay. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Close that down. Copy. Okay, it's an open mic night. So, boom, boom, boom. Link in the chat. Whether you've been on before or you have not been on before, hit that link. Okay. Who else we got? Jefe was high, all right, but he wasn't on a mountain. Damn. What are we talking about? Parachuting? Was he in a helicopter? Fuzzy in the building. OMG. Okay. Still wondering, where is Jefe? Link in the chat for everybody. Jump in, jump on. The show must go on. That's funny. Okay. So, where are we? Hope we get stat cards after this is done. Loads of boxers need a fight. Yeah, well, says Philip Carl Roberts. Yeah, Eddie Hearn has intimated that there's going to be a condensed period of lots of fights behind closed doors once the all clear has been given to proceed. But he's going to have them behind closed doors anyway, initially. Dr. Woodak says, I don't think Jefe is going to turn up. Oh, ye of little faith. He could pop up. He could pop up any minute. Seems like that type of guy could just pop up. Might just pop up on you. OMG. Wilder's too old to adapt to anything that could possibly help him beat Fury. Fury has his number and can take the only thing that Wilder has going for him, his power. Yeah, says David Ashton. I think he can nullify his power. I think you put Wilder on his back foot. Keep Wilder on his back foot. Stay up on his chest. Wrestle him. We saw Fury. We saw Fury wrestle. Deontay Wilder out wrestle him. Got to make it messy. Get him out of his tempo. Get him out of his comfort zone. Yeah, I think that's the way. That's the way to beat him. Big Boys Boxing up in the building. I don't know, man. I hope El Jefe don't let the people down. This is what we're in. We're in the entertainment game. News and entertainment. John Daly up in the building. AK Jr. up in the building. One of the guys who is taking the time to subscribe to me on Twitter. You have some good chats over there. If you're not doing that already, jump on it. Yeah, a little bit of relaxation time. Okay. Oh dear, I don't know where he is. Don't know where he is, but the show must go on. The show goes on. Phil Walker up in the building. Link in the chat. We're about to start the first topic. It's old fun now. Everybody's had a go. Everyone has had a go. If Wilder can make significant changes, the whole division is in deep doo-doo. Gucci Kid in the building. I still rate Wilder. Guy can't box. And he's got this far. He's got this far by careful management, I think, Gucci Kid. Careful management. Okay. Okay, so I think first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about, I know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, no, it's not Where's Hell Jefe. It's not that. It is this. Where are we? Okay, there it is. So let's get into the show. So 29 years ago, PPV was born with Holyfield versus Foreman. Should I show this? Should I share this with you? I think I should. Let me drop that picture down. Where's that picture? Okay, let's get rid of that and share the screen and bring this up. Okay, we should be good. Okay, so after an 18-month stint developing new products for General Foods, Mark Taffet realized more stimulating challenges were desired for his career. Simply put, marketing peas and carrots and other grocery store essentials were not worth punching the clock for. In 1984, yearning for a more palatable cocktail of conversation, the sport fan Taffet moved from the frozen food aisle over to HBO to join the finance department. Over time, he evolved his role within sports and essentially would wind up creating the boxing pay-per-view model, which started 29 years ago on April the 19th, 1991, when Evander Holyfield defeated George Foreman on the then branded HBO-owned TVKO. Okay, during Taffet's HBO tenure under the title of Senior Vice President of Sports Operations and PPV, he overshadowed or he oversaw more than 190 HBO PPV events, which generated 65 million buys and 3.6 billion in revenue until he resigned from his role at the end of 2015, right before his contract expired. Damn. He retired. What? He resigned from his role just before his contract expired. Did he get wind that they weren't going to renew it? So what was the time span there? 1991 till 2015. Well, that's 90. Yeah. That's what, 25 years? 91. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so Taffet's remarkable 25-year president. I should have just moved to the next page. The next sentence, he told me 25-year run presiding over PPVs began by disrupting the existing model, which before the comfort of TVs in people's living rooms consisted of going out to stadiums to watch fights in closed circuits stadiums, all while returning home with a beer and a mustard-soaked stained shirts. Okay, you had to drive to an arena to watch boxing fights, and the picture and sound quality was terrible. People were throwing soda and hot dogs all over the place. Taffet soon realized that Sugar Ray Leonard's fights were being broadcast and distributed through what? Microwave-like dish antennas across 6 major cities across the USA on a fight-by-fight basis, generating more money than what HBO would pay to have the rights to Mike Tyson's fights. Taffet had the ear of Seth Abram, the head of HBO Sports, and said they needed to jump into the PPV business or else they would lose their franchise. HBO then and still today is a division of Time Warner and gave Taffet the green light to pursue the newfound PPV path and pave a lane they would eventually own. Okay, so how much more of this is there? How much more of this is there? Let me just try and get to the salient points. I was responsible for the profit and losses on the event. I was very concerned. Taffet and Company knew they had to stage a dream fight that would be headlined by characters and that would generate a storyline worth paying to watch. The unretired George Foreman and his recently crowned heavyweight champion, Evander Holyfield, fit the bill. And it was for the pay-per-views of $34.95 to buy at the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. HBO's cost to have the Battle of the Ages was a pretty penny at the time, $34 million, 10 times the amount they had previously paid for a Tyson fight. I had to run around the country and learn about PPV, said Taffet. I'd never done it before. For months on end, I visited cable operators to figure out how to sell the fight. Taffet quickly learned that he was down on the cards after paying an exorbitant amount of money for the fight when he and HBO realized only 10% of cable subscribers in the US had the boxes needed to potentially order and watch the fight. I said, oh my God. I was responsible for the profit and loss of the event. I was very, very concerned. Taffet, still nascent to the PPV scene, found it inconceivable that people had to line up outside of a building on Friday to pay the $50 deposit for a box, buy and watch the event on Saturday, and return the box by Monday to retrieve their deposit. I did a projection that said if we were going to do 100,000 PPV buys, said Taffet, sweating buckets. because the technological limitations were so great. We were going to lose a fortune. Foreman's promoter Bob Aaron told me, you guys are going to close before you even open. You better do something to fix this. Taffet needed a new flood of investments into the boxes, and the operators needed a regular flow of programming in order to create the hardware. Thus, HBO committed a 2-year plan for a monthly TV, KO, and PPV programming. By the time Holyfield versus Foreman rolled out, consumers went from having access to nearly 3 million boxes to almost 16 million units. What's that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's over 5 times. That's over 5 times more. HBO pumped money into its market, and the fight ended up being a smashing success, even by today's standards, to the tune of 1.4 million pay-per-view buys and 53 million in revenue. For all intents and purposes, that was the night that PPV was born, said Taffet. We had no idea at all how many buys we were going to do. We were ecstatic. We didn't know what to do with ourselves. The following month, TV KO served fans to a matchup between James Toney and Michael Nunn for $19.95, yielding 19,000 pay-per-view buys. The paltry sales performance forced HBO to recalibrate its business plan. Seth told me, he said, well, Mark, this is a business of hits and misses. And that became a phrase I used for 25 years. We learned it in PPV. You either had an event where people called family and friends and neighbors together, like a Super Bowl event, or you didn't. Shortly after delivering the long-awaited and much-anticipated match between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao in 2015, still the most lucrative fight of all time, Taffet decided to steer his career into a different direction and chase a new passion. It was tough to move on, but it was time for a change and a new era, added Taffet. Although I did events of great commercial value for HBO, I wanted to do something more meaningful on the other side of the table. Help athletes who had dreams and needed leadership and guidance. And it gives me great satisfaction. Taffet still toils in boxing, most notably as a manager to Clarissa Shields, a 3-division champion and a 2-time U.S. gold medalist, and a slew of other up-and-coming boxers. The New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame inductee is also trying his hand as a promoter in other combat sports with team-based company MMA Pro League. Okay, so Taffet wants to stage one more significant PPV. However, with Shields in a mega fight versus Layla Ali, he believes the fight would be one of the most lucrative events of all times. I've had a magnificent career with HBO, said Taffet. I couldn't wait to get to the office. I had to pinch myself, working as many significant events as I did. I couldn't believe they paid me to do it. I worked hard, though. I was blessed with a passion and energy by my parents to work those 20-hour days. Sleep was not something I did very well. I didn't like to dream. I liked to make reality happen. Okay, that's an incredible story of the birth of what we know as PPV. Okay, thought I'd share that with you. What's going on? Stop sharing. Let's go back into the comment section. Okay, I thought I put the link in the chat, but I didn't press the button, so now it's there. Now it's there. Anybody wants to jump on, feel free to do so. Okay, let's get back into the comment section. Let's see if I've missed anything. Let's see Let's see what's going on. I remember the £10 in the UK for them pay-per-views on Sky Sports. Yeah. Yes. Marla up in the building. Mr. Marcus Collins, LDBC, up in the building. One of my most faithful supporters. Hello and welcome, Mr. LDBC, Marcus Collins. Never misses a show. Props to you, Marcus. Okay, what happened there? Mr. Marcus Collins, yeah, okay. Okay, right. So, nobody talking about the topic. Okay. Yeah, so that was the birth of PPV. That was the birth of PPV. Big boys boxing up in the building. How do you do?
Not too bad, Raphie, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, I had a little brake problem with my bike today, so I biked it out and walked it back, but that's okay. We need the exercise in the COVID era.
Indeed.
We need that exercise in the COVID era. So good of you to join me. PPV, is it a good or a bad thing, Jono? PPV. It's a big question, I know.
Well, I think it's good if it's utilized in the right way. You know, putting fights on that aren't worthy of being pay-per-view only pisses fans off to me.
Yeah.
But it's a good moneymaker for the boxers. So, you know, the guys who are at the top of the divisions deserve to make decent money. After all, they are prize fighters. So I'm all for good pay-per-views, but not so much for the bad ones.
Yeah. Absolutely. The good ones, the bad ones. I still remember back in the day over here in the UK, we had all that shizzle for free. We had all that shizzle for free. So I think another argument is that PPVs had took the fights away from the masses. People wonder what the decline of boxing for the masses was, and I put it to you. I have an hypothesis that PPV killed boxing for the masses.
Indeed, it probably did to a degree, but then looking at the other side of the card as well, the size of the events and the quality of events was upgraded, and that's due to the amount of money generated by the pay-per-views. So, you know, it's nice for everybody to be able to see fights for free, but the quality of the shows and the fighters not being paid as much, maybe they're more susceptible to setting their own fights up for gambling reasons to try and make extra money. You see, so there's pros and cons to both sides.
It's pros and cons. Another thought that crosses my mind is that we have this culture now. We've moved into this culture whereby, you know, a top fighter may only fight one time a year, certainly with the PBC model. And I put it to you, Jono, and I put it to the chat. I put it to everybody. If PPV never came along, I put it to everybody that if PPV never came along, then this fighting one time a year for some guys, it wouldn't happen. They'd be fighting 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, to make that money that they want.
Make the money that they want.
Yeah.
And so ultimately what I'm saying is PPV has had positive aspects to it. So, you know, people get richer, I guess, including the fighters. Phil Walker's tried to get on a couple of times and dropped off immediately. I don't know what's going on, Phil. I don't know if you're having problems on your end. But yeah, I think that had PPV never came around, we would have more. We'd have more boxing. So
There's also,
very much a mixed blessing, Jono.
definitely, I can agree with that, and you can also think that maybe if there wasn't so much money in boxing, there'd be a hell of a lot less corruption. Maybe there'd be less governing bodies as well, because we all know they're supposed to be non-profit organizations, but we know much better than that. They want those sanctioning fees. So maybe a couple of sanctioning bodies may not have even turned up if pay-per-view never existed.
Yes. And welcoming in Phil Walker. Phil, Big Texas, how you doing?
What's the deal? What's the deal, fellas? What's up?
What's
Yeah,
happening, bro?
man. Yeah, we're in here. We're talking about the birth of PPV as we know it 29 years ago with Holyfield and Foreman. And I brought up the story. I can't say I really had a full handle on where I wanted to go with it, but obviously it's a news story. It was 29 years ago. Next year will be 30 years, but it's 29 years ago almost to the day. It was April 19, I think 71, something like that. And that's all whoopie-doo. That's all whoopie-doo. That's all cool in the gang. However, there is a flip side to pay-per-view. I remember when I was a kid, we used to watch pay-per-view. We used to watch boxing, watch the big fights for free on TV. Pay-per-view came along, and slowly but surely those fights started to dwindle till it got to the point where you couldn't really see high grade boxing fights on TV anymore. They're all on some kind of pay-per-view channel or something of that description. So I put it to you that pay-per-view has been a mixed blessing for boxing. Phil Walker, you're muted, my friend. Or maybe he's talking to somebody. Can't speak right now.
No. I'm just trying to unmute myself. Well, I mean, look, like you say, I think pay-per-view is also a blessing and a curse. I mean, it's a blessing if they save it for its intended purpose. But now it's gotten to a point to where it just became a means to just exploiting people just to get fights that's supposed to happen for free, right? Yeah. But look, check this. This is my philosophy on it, right? As far as just combat sports in general, you can go all the way back to the gladiator days, where these guys were just fighting just to for one, for their freedom, and for two, just for sure entertainment for common folk, and I mean, at the end of the day, I just think combat sports in general has always been a form of corruption intertwined with it since way back when. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, at the end of the day, history right now is always going to repeat itself, and I just think right now at this point in time, instead of it being the fighters that are really suffering, it's the fans. Back then the fighters got all the glory. Now at this point in tenure, the fans right now, man, we're suffering bad because, again, like I said, we're only getting we have to pay pay-per-view for fights that should honestly be free. And when you talk about 20 years ago, that's not a long time ago, man. You understand what I'm saying? 20 years ago is not a long time ago. 50 years is not a long time ago. When you start talking about civil rights and all that kind of stuff like that, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for it to come, for it to be at the point it is right now, just less than 29 years ago, I say it's taking a step back then versus taking a step forward, revolutionizing pay-per-view. You could say streaming now is a form of revolutionizing pay-per-view, but, everybody's not on board with it because they see how much money can be made. But when you do it right, the fans don't feel like they're getting cheated. And right now, the way it's set up, we feel like we're getting cheated. And that's just the bottom line.
Yes, absolutely. It's very unfortunate, but I don't think I think that overall I question I question PPV, how it's being used right now, how it's been utilized. The original pay-per-view model was the original plan for pay-per-view is that the very biggest fights would be this pay-per-view revenue would fund the biggest fights and it enable them to occur, to happen. But how it's worked out is that it's just another means for a promoter to make more money. It's not even the biggest fights now. It's mediocre fights. Mediocre fights are on pay-per-view. So the providers have gone away from the original intended purpose of pay-per-view. And now I think that ultimately, the consumer loses out now. The consumer loses out because they get the top fights. Yes, sometimes we get the top fights, but then on the flip side of that, the consumer is being squeezed for fights which the pay-per-view model simply was not designed for. Big Boys Boxing, just before we move on.
Yeah, I think it's also worth mentioning too, a lot of the pay-per-view cards we do get a good fight on it, but
Yeah.
it seems the promoters are milking it by sticking on a whole lot of crappy fights underneath it on the same card and just trying to make the most money out of it as they possibly can. So like Phil was saying, I think the intended purpose is a bit lost at the moment, and it'd be good to see that come back to clean it up and maybe make the fans feel like we're not getting ripped off so much.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Okay, and so I think has anybody else said anything else relating to that? Let me have a look. I think there's been some conversation on that. Yeah. Dr. Wodak, remember Reg Gutteridge on ITV? I do remember Reg Gutteridge. Remember him very well. How could you forget that mustache? Looked like he had a badger on his lip. That was my intro to boxing. Reg Gutteridge. Yes. I wasn't even sure that he was an Englishman, Dr. Wodak. I thought he was an American. I only just realized when you mentioned Reg Gutteridge, he must be a Brit. PPV events used to be stacked as well. These days, it's just the main event. It's just the main event. It's true. That is of interest. People in the US don't want to pay $80 for one fight. Yeah, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. What's going on here? Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. So many of the undercards are tedious. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's disgusting how much the US have to pay. Yeah, it's they're being ripped off, in my opinion. Phil, you're being ripped off. Phil, you're being ripped off. I think Phil's got a new phone. He's got a new phone. He can't get the mute button off. Damn it. Phil, you're struggling with that new iPad. What's going on?
Until he comes back too. I think it's funny how we consider free fights these days. Free fights. Well, we actually pay subscription fees on most fights anyway. So, we've got pay-per-view as well as subscription fees.
Yeah.
So we don't really get free fights full stop anymore.
There ain't no free fights anymore. There ain't no free fights. The only people getting free fights are the people who stream it.
Yeah.
So Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, Charles Martin versus Gerald Washington, Emmanuel Navarrete versus Joe Santamisa, Sebastian Fundora versus Daniel Lewis, etc., etc. What are you saying? You want to see that?
Nah, undercard fights.
Undercard fights, yeah. Okay, I get you. Yeah. People who have of little interest. Yeah, that ain't good. Can't believe what people have to pay in the US. Although when you add in when you add in the subscription fees on top of the pay-per-view fees over in the UK, it works out pretty much up there also. Even though the pay-per-views themselves are cheap, you know, you got the back end stuff. You got the basic subscription, which for Sky could run you like £40, and then on top of that, you got the PPV itself. So that's £60 for that particular month, but throughout the year, you're paying £40 a year as your base, as your subscription.
Can you buy the pay-per-view fights there without being a subscriber?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'm not into football, what they call soccer over in the US, so I don't really need Sky throughout the month unless it's for boxing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just go for the pay-per-view, which you can order over the phone, your computer. Boom. That's the way I do it.
Same here.
Yeah, that's the way I do it. And if anyone remembers Joshua Povetkin on the card, what a stinker. Can't remember if I covered that one. I know I watched it. I think I got in late or something. Got in late. I just covered the last couple of fights. So yeah, I didn't really bother with the undercard as such. Some LDBC cats would rather pay the $80 instead of the much cheaper DAZN fee. Yeah, I never really understood that. Yeah, pay-per-view has become a negative force in boxing. There has historically been big money in boxing due to its prominence as a major sport. Taking the big names out of the spotlight has made pay-per-view a must. Are you going to say something there, Jono?
I guess if you look at it from a business perspective, supply and demand is a big thing. If people are going to pay it, the businessmen are going to charge it. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate that boxing fans are passionate enough to pay through the nose for what they want to see.
Yeah, through the nose, indeed. Absolutely. It is paying through the nose. Yes, BH says, greetings, Raphie and viewers. Used to have HBO and Showtime, cut the cable cord, and now just DAZN. Can't splurge for PPV. Watch fights the next day on YouTube. I don't blame you one tiny little bit. What is my Virgin cost £30 a month? Yeah. DAZN's coming to the UK. I don't think they're gonna have everything as their land, but they're gonna have more and more as time goes by. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I'm not into these big subscription bills whatsoever. People in the US need to embrace DAZN and put the pressure on the pay-per-view providers to lower their prices 100%. Phil Walker's got some real bad internet, I think. Keeps on dropping off. Another cookout. The Boxing Jedi. How do you do? LDBC won't pay DAZN because it airs white fighters. Oh dear, you caught me on the sly one with that, Junior. Caught me on the sly with that. I was already halfway and I thought, oh damn it, I'm already in now. Might as well go straight through. Okay. Yes. Okay, so Ped in the building. Yeah, I can see you having internet problems. Phil, but thanks for trying to jump on anyway. Much appreciated. Okay, so where's Red Glove Militant? Oh, damn, I missed you. Red Glove Militant also up in the building. Let me drop the link. What is that? That's not the link. That's something else. What is that? Let me drop the link again as we move on. To the show. Can't see El Jefe. Where are you, El Jefe? Let's paste the link. Let's paste the link in the chat again. And there it is. Hold on, there's a private chat. Yeah, equipment malfunction. Yeah, I see that, Phil. Thanks for jumping on. Haven't heard from you from a few weeks, so it's good of you to jump on. Link in the chat, gentlemen, as we move. What's going on there? What's going on? Let me close that. And let me move that over, one over, as we go to the next topic. And it's a bit of a biggie. Every time I go live, at the very last minute, I think, damn it, why didn't I think of that earlier? And I actually had the audio. of Jesse. Yeah, I actually had the audio of this, but I forgot to load it. So we're just gonna go with the story. Kicking myself. I forgot that I had the audio. Never mind. I think I'm gonna probably do a video on that anyway. Yeah, probably gonna do a video on that anyway. So I'll use the audio for that. But in the meantime, we're talking about this. Does it come up? Yeah. Wilder, I felt like a zombie against Fury. I wasn't there from the first bell. I was not there. Yeah. So, did the chat really move up that fast? Damn, it did. It really did move up that fast. Okay, let me put it again. Copy that. Boom. Paste that. Boom. And go. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. Let's get into this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so Wilder, I felt like a zombie against Fury. I wasn't there from the first bell. I just heard a pop. I'm in a different window. I'll get right back to you when I finish reading this. Okay, so Deontay Wilder believes it should be obvious to anyone who watches footage of their rematch that he wasn't his usual self, even from the opening bell of his second fight against Tyson Fury. Okay, I'll be with you in a second. Guys, we just jumped in. I'm in a different screen. Can't see you. With you in a second. Okay, so Wilder felt like a zombie as soon as it started on February 22nd, MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas. According to Wilder, his physical state enabled Fury to defeat the former WBC heavyweight champion as easily as he did that night. The 34-year-old, what is it? Where am I? Oh, yeah. The 34-year-old Wilder detailed his condition during an interview with co-hosts Kevin Berner and Mark Rosenthal for the most recent episode of the PBC podcast. Damn it. That's where I saw it or heard it. Couldn't remember. Okay. The thing about it is that it's easy to understand. You know what type of person Deontay Wilder was in that moment. This is definitely going to be Wilder talking. In that moment of time, you know, even when I took off my mask and the things that I was doing, you know, I've been in this sport for a very long time. People have seen me fight all over the world. All over the world? Okay. For a very long time. So people automatically know how I am. And you know how I should look. Okay. And people that know boxing know that was not Deontay Wilder that night. I was a zombie that night. It was something like I said, I can't talk about a lot of things. But I wasn't Deontay, but it wasn't Deontay Wilder that night. You can tell from the mask, my reaction to certain things that I was doing in the ring. You know, you can look from the first fight to the second fight, and you can tell it was two different people that night. From a guy, what? This is hard to read. This is very, very hard to read. What can I go to? Unlike their first fight, an assertive Fury pressured Wilder, roughed him up, and kept the hard-hitting former champion moving backward for much of their rematch. No, I wasn't surprised, Wilder said regarding Fury's approach to their rematch. It's hard to explain. From the first round, from the first bell of the first round, it's like I was more in retreat mode. It's like I wasn't even there, for real. I don't even know how to say it. but I just wasn't there. That's all I can tell you. I wasn't there from the first start, from the first bell, my whole body, everything, you know, it just wasn't me. Everything's going to be all right. Trust me. All I know, and that's all I know. And I'm just looking forward to coming back in there and doing what I got to do. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to feel like I'm making any excuses or anything like that. I just want people to know that I'm happy and I'm in full health and I'm coming back stronger than ever. Yeah, I had an operation on my bicep, so I can't really train right now, but I should be ready for October, somewhere up there. Yeah, should be good. Not training right now, but come October, I shall be good. Okay, so that is that story. And move back on over here. Okay, we have the red gloved militant and the boxing Jedi. Red glove militant, how are you?
I'm doing good. I feel like myself. I feel not like a zombie, despite what my picture shows. So I guess I'm doing good. How are you doing today, Raph?
Damn, bro! I didn't know you was an artist. Is that a portrait? Did you draw that?
Oh, I didn't. No, I didn't do that. I do. I actually can draw and paint though, but no, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I wish I could take credit for that, but no.
Damn, that looks like a portrait of Deontay Wilder. Oh, the boxing
Post Fury.
Oh, damn. Yeah, Post Fury. Mm-hmm. The boxing Jedi. How do you do?
Sir Raphie, what's going on, my brothers? Red glove, big boys. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good over here, bro. Good over here. It's just another day. It's another Monday show with boxing talk with Raphie, bringing all the good people together in a spirit of harmony.
No doubt. I hear that, man. At least everybody in the chat, all the boxing heads in there. And I just gotta say, man. I mean, can we give our take as to what's going on? All right, listen. I think, man, this guy is full of caca. Listen, wasn't he the one that was like all hard and stuff and saying this and saying that and showing his preparation and then, you know, talking all of this smack about Fury's a drug, he's a druggie and right. I mean, all these excuses that you were making before, but yeah, you got the gonads. You got the gonads to actually come out and say now that, oh, I'm not making any excuses. Under the same breath or the same pen that you inked that down with, or whoever was writing down whatever you were saying, it's disgusting because you can see the whole total contradiction. And it's exactly what Mike Tyson said. His arrogance got the best of him. His arrogance got the best of him. And he cannot say that he was not prepared or he wasn't there or he didn't feel like himself. You didn't feel like yourself, but yeah, you were spreading and you were talking all of this gibberish, you know, to Fury and doubting him and you know, and trying to make this into a racial thing, some Larry Holmes Cooney thing. I mean, you know, it's just ridiculous with him, man. And I just feel that, you know, he shouldn't even come back October. I think it should just be Fury Joshua or whoever else is going to go down low. They should move on. And Deontay should just, rehabilitate correctly. After he rehabilitates, take some time off, get the basics up inside of your regiment, you know what I mean? And then come back, and whoever's the champ then, you know, then you come back and you start, I guess, to terminate again, you know, without them setting them up in front of you.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Who are we going to next? Big Boys Boxing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see Wilder has broken his silence, but unfortunately he hasn't really given us anything. If it wasn't him there on that night where Fury beat the living dog crap out of him, guess who is to blame for him not being there? Him. He's got himself to blame. So making it is an excuse. Like Jedi was just saying, no excuses, but it wasn't me. That's an excuse in itself, like one sentence after another.
Yeah.
And, you know, I am glad that he isn't coming out with a lot of what the Wilder lapdogs are coming out with. You know, he hasn't mentioned anything about this glove crap or cheating or any crap like that. So
Yeah.
I'll give him kudos for that. But
Yeah.
there was something else, and I think it was in that article. He also says he doesn't consider Tyson a champion because there's still one fight left.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he came out and considered Andy Ruiz a champion after he beat Joshua, even though there was still a rematch. So how come the goalposts have been changed for him?
Yeah. I hear that. I'm just reading this message here. Don't get on.
But hey, all in all, I hope he does make some changes. I hope he does come back, and it is Deontay Wilder in the ring when we see him fight Tyson Fury, because I want to see the best fight the best. I don't want to see a zombie or so-called zombie get his ass handed to him.
Okay, red gloved militant.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I forget who I said that to, but I said it's the very same thing that Big Boys Boxing said about the whole, well, you know, then does that mean that he wasn't the champion? That Andy Ruiz wasn't the champion after he beat AJ because they had a rematch. We knew that they were going to have a rematch, you know. So, but I specifically remember him calling Andy Ruiz the champion, and I specifically remember him talking like Andy Ruiz was going to win the second fight as well. You know, yeah, Deontay Wilder, he needs to learn how to stop sticking his foot in his mouth. He seems to do that quite a bit. This wouldn't be the first time that he did something like that. You know, he told the Breakfast Club that that, you know, in the event that one of his opponents tested dirty, that he would go ahead and fight them. But we know that that's not true. Like with the Povetkin situation, you know, he did end up fighting Ortiz, but there was a fight they had with Ortiz originally that was canceled because of his failed test. So and I know a lot of people will say, well, the WBC, they canceled that fight. Well, they don't really cancel fights when there's when something like that happens. They just say they're not going to sanction them. Mm-hmm. Remember when Povetkin failed again against Bermain Stavern, that's what they told him. They said, you know, you can fight him if you want, but we're not sanctioning the fight. And Duopa ended up stepping in to fight him instead. So, you know, this wouldn't be the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But we'll see what he does. We'll see if he makes the adjustments. I'd like to see him make a much better fight for the third fight. I mean, if we're gonna have to wait for Undisputed on the back burner because they have to have their rematch, I would at least like for Deontay Wilder to make it worth our while. I don't want to see another pummeling like we saw on the 22nd of February.
Dang. Yeah. Wilder's saying that he felt like a zombie in there. He felt like it wasn't him. He wasn't there from the first bell. But I can't ignore, or do we ignore? Can we ignore? Where the hell is that damn picture? I need a secretary. Where's the picture when I damn well need it? Give me a couple of seconds. Let me see if I can work some quick magic. It's going to have to be real quick, though, because I'm talking about it. Can it happen? Can it happen? Can I find the picture that I need, that I want immediately within a matter of seconds? Can I do it? Can
You
I?
can do it.
Can I do it? Can I? I can do it. I can do it. I found it. I found it.
So nobody confess.
I found it.
So you know what? You should ground them until one of them do. That's
found
it.
Enough
is enough. This shit don't break by itself.
Yeah, Jedi.
So ground them until
Jedi. Just mute
ground
your
them
mic,
until
bro.
they
Jedi, mute your mic, bro. Mute your mic, bro. Thanks, bro.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. I found it now. Can I show it within a matter of seconds? Let me try. Because I want this picture. I want this picture to be up there when I say what I'm about to say. I do believe I'm sharing. So we can't ignore it. I hope you can see. Can you see it on your screen? You can't see it on your screen. Can you see it come up? You can see. Okay. So that means your internet is faster than mine because it still ain't come up on. Oh yeah. Okay.
He said the internet is fast.
So there it is. Took a long time to come up on my device there, so I didn't know you could see it. But okay. So can we ignore? Yeah, okay, I'll put it that way then. Can we ignore the fact that what I'm showing here suggests that, I hope it's big enough. Hold on, I can make it bigger. Can I? No. Or I don't know how to do it. Oh yeah, I can. Hold on. I got new skills, man. Come on. Oh, you don't get bigger. Okay. Well, plus. All right, listen, I don't want to mess things up, so just leave it alone. So there you see what looks to me like a torn bicep. The story is that he's had surgery on it, and it certainly was. Did it happen before the fight? Was it injured before the fight, and he still fought knowing that he had a torn bicep? That's what they're saying. They said that it happened prior to the fight, and obviously a torn bicep is not going to get better during the fight. So I think it's reasonable to surmise that the injury got worse during the fight. Now, my question is, how much can we overlook the fact that he was fighting with a torn bicep? I'm going to go with Big Boys Boxing first.
Well, if he's not going to come out with it and say it, since he's already made excuses inadvertently, then we got nothing to comment on, really. He's obviously had some surgery on a torn bicep. It's his left hand, so it's not his power hand.
No.
I might have to go back and have another look at the fight to see how much he was trying to jab, if anything.
Yeah.
To make a call on whether we could ignore it or not. But if it was torn in the fight and there's proof of it, then I don't know why he doesn't just come out with it. That gives a valid reason why he wasn't himself, instead of just saying some stupid shit like I'm a zombie. Excuse the language, sorry.
I'm a zombie. OMG. Oh my gosh. Okay. The boxing Jedi. Deontay Wilder fought with a torn bicep. What did he say?
I have to say this, man. Listen, we have to overlook the fact. You know why? Because he took the fight, right? If he knew this prior, he took the fight and he overlooked the fact. Now, all of a sudden, this is excuse 1,926,500, right? So it's like, okay, we got this excuse now. So it's the bicep. And then, exactly what Big Boy Boxing said before we went into this about Wilder. And I'm glad he said this. I'm gonna work off of what he said. Hold on for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna work off of what he said, and what he said was that Wilder, regardless, he had a torn bicep. I mean, we just can't overlook that. We just can't. He overlooked the fact that okay, I'm taking this fight. I already had surgery on it. I'm training for it. He should have said something. I'm all, or Fury probably would have went to Joshua. But that's the whole thing. Like there's no excuse. A torn bicep, okay, you knew about it, but yet you took the match, and now you're telling us that you wasn't the same, and all this, and now all of a sudden you needed to get it repaired again. If I'm not mistaken, this is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right. So then, right. So if he's so if this is what he's doing again, and he overlooked that fact, then that's exactly what.
Okay. The boxing Jedi was falling off. Can't hear him. Still there. I think he's still there. Yeah, I think he's still there. But we can't hear him right about now. So we'll speak to him when he gets back. Red gloved militant.
Yeah, all right, so here's the thing, right? If his bicep was torn before the fight, he's a professional fighter. He should have tried to get the fight postponed or something. If that was the case. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
They, in the post-fight interview, he mentioned his leg, he mentioned training camp, he didn't mention his bicep.
True.
And then his Instagram post, he mentioned that the king is still here. I'm gonna rise like a phoenix from the ashes. But he didn't mention his bicep. His torn bicep. So, I can't say that I believe this. Was it torn? It could have been, but why is it like a month and a half later that we're hearing about this bicep? Why wasn't it brought up before? I mean, just as easily as he brought up the leg. See, if he didn't make the leg excuse, then I could kind of excuse it. I would still be asking, why did he wait so long? But at least it would be consistent. But because he made the leg excuse, we're talking about insufficiency with one of his body parts.
Yeah.
He didn't. If he could bring up the leg, he could bring up the bicep. But he didn't. He omitted the bicep. And talked about the suit. He talked about the leg. He talked about training camp. He talked about phoenixes and butterflies and all kinds of other stuff. But now is when we find out about the bicep. So that's where I stand. I don't quite buy it. But if it is real, my only question is, why not say anything until now?
Exactly. Sorry, I was cut off.
Jedi's back. Yeah, man. I knew you cut off. But you want to finish up what you were saying, Jedi? Can you remember?
Yeah. Well, actually, where did I cut off? Where did it cut me off at?
Just towards the end.
Well, yeah. Like I was saying, I think that we need to overlook that fact, just like he overlooked it and took the match. And now that he's trying to explain exactly why he lost, I guess, to his followers, because everybody else knows why he lost. Well, I stand by it. We should overlook it, definitely.
My position on this, it's perplexing. Red Glove said he talked about the leg, he talked about the weight of the costume, he talked about the batteries. It was okay until they put the batteries in, then it was too heavy. He talked about it was okay until they put the batteries in. But so how could it be that if this was a significant issue, then he didn't mention that? It's a good point. How come he didn't mention that? I mean, personally, having competed in various sports, various disciplines, one thing I never did. This is a kind of a counter to Red Glove Militant's point, somewhat. One thing I would never do is tell a competitor if I was injured or where I was injured.
Exactly.
If I had a bad knee, if the left knee was bad, bruised, swollen, I would say the closest I'd come is I'd say my right knee is a bit banged up. But I would never, ever, even to the people you train with, even to the people around me who I trained with, I would never want to tell them about an injury or where it was. Just in case that information got into the hands of a competitor. I would never want to tell them. So, Red Glove Militant, do you think that might be a factor? For example, AJ got a surgery. I think he got a surgery after the first fight, but he didn't tell anybody about the injury. And to this day, he's never told anybody what the injury was. So I put it to you, Red Glove Militant, that some of these guys have a mentality where they don't want you to know what their injury is.
I mean, that could be a possibility. The only thing is, he did not AJ, but Wilder did come out and tell us. He came and told us a month and a half after the fight. Like, if he's gonna keep it quiet, he's got to keep it quiet all the way, not just for a time. You know, like I get what you're saying. It makes sense. You know, you don't want to tip off the opponent to your weaknesses. But guess what? He's already done it.
Yeah.
And he has another fight with him. So I understand what you're saying, and it actually makes perfect sense. Except for he's already kind of botched that up by coming out about it at all.
All right. Well, let me put this to you. Let me put this to you that he got a telephone call. A guy whose girlfriend works as a nurse in the hospital where he got his surgery, told him, he told his journalist mate, and then his mate gave Deontay a call saying, "Hey, Deontay, I heard that you had a torn bicep. Who told you? Who told you?" And so I put it to you: is there a possibility that this leaked out and he merely confessed? I'm sounding like I'm an LDBC guy. Please, guys, don't get it twisted. That ain't the case. I just want to try and investigate it. I'm just giving you my hypothesis.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with exploring different possibilities. That's definitely a possibility, but he doesn't have to admit to that on a podcast, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a possibility. That's not something I would think is completely unreasonable. Except I would, if that's being asked to me, I wouldn't be disclosing that on a podcast that everybody could hear. You could say, just like he didn't say anything up to that point, he could have been very vague. He could have gave a very diplomatic kind of politicianish kind of answer to that question if he was put on the spot. But then again, it's easier said than done. Sometimes you say stuff and then after the fact you're like, I wish I could have, worded that differently. Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have divulged so much information. So it could be one of those situations as well. But yeah, that's a very interesting question. It's not. I wouldn't say you're like an LDBC guy for asking that. It's a very reasonable possibility to explore.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to come back to the Boxing Jedi on that. The Boxing Jedi. What do you think about that? The last chapter of that book we just discussed.
I mean, we all look. We give Deontay
clear his throat. He doesn't want to have to do this.
I mean, we give Deontay Wilder his props, of course, right? Going the route that he went and getting the WBC title and doing what he had to do. No doubt, we understand this, but at the same time, we all see, like I said, the quality. Everybody sees the quality of his resume. Now, when we look at this final chapter where he's talking about his arm and all this stuff, I mean, and the problem that I see with Deontay Wilder is, number one, his ability to to be ignorant, right? And when he's ignorant, he tries to put it as fact. You know, he puts his ignorance as fact, and then he tries to put it as gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you don't go with it, you know, he allows, you know, he allows other people to stereotype you into something where, you know, it's going to be a racial tone or what's, you know, of some sorts.
Yeah.
I don't think Deontay Wilder will ever be humble and wake up and say to himself, I lost that match because I was not prepared, and I was never prepared.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I will go as far as to say that Deontay Wilder knew exactly which way his career was pulling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we know, we can see this exactly. We can also see that Deontay Wilder has always folded, and we can say this now, okay, because actions speak louder than words in the sport of boxing.
Yep.
You know, we have seen that he has choked in big fights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, look, he fought 2 of the top 10, right? 2, you know, 2 of them, which
Yeah.
was, you know, and he had problems with him.
Mm-hmm.
He had problems with him. You know what I mean? We could say Arthur Spilka gave him problems, but then we would be putting him down to another tier, which we already have done. So let's keep him at the tier, you know, where we have him now. He still represents that lower tier. He couldn't go any higher than that simply because of his whole acknowledgement of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So my question here is Deontay Wilder going to make himself, no, excuse me, let me rewind. Does Deontay Wilder have the ability to make himself relevant again? That's my question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does he have the ability? Well, I guess
Raph, I think you cut out.
yeah, I accidentally cut out. I think I cut myself out somehow.
I thought you were answering with sign language. I was looking.
I think I cut myself out somehow. Yeah. So I guess my take on this whole situation, crazy situation. It's a crazy one. It's a crazy one. Because I clearly see the bicep appears to be torn. I've never had a torn bicep, but that must surely come with some impairment. You have a torn muscle, it's not going to work as it's supposed to work. How much of a bearing did that have on the fight? How much of a bearing did that have on the fight? No problem, AK Jr. It's really hard to tell. But one thing I will say is that, and people who know me know that I am no Deontay Wilder apologist, but I have to say it like I see it. I have to tell it like I see it. And when he took that mask off, he didn't look right. He didn't look confident. He did not. His facial expressions were not the facial expressions that I have become accustomed to. Matter of fact, I'll go further. I will say when he took that mask off, to me, he looked strangely passive. I'll go further. I'll say he looked pensive. So like he was nervous, like he was not confident. And so I will say this. I am no Deontay Wilder apologist, but I will say this. I say that we will see a better Deontay Wilder next time out, because I do believe that there was something significantly wrong with Deontay Wilder. And allow me to go further.
I agree.
Yeah. And allow me to go further. I will say that if there was something significantly wrong with Deontay Wilder, which I suspect, then he should have called the fight off. Red Glove Militant.
I think that's a very educated hypothesis, a very educated theory. I could definitely understand that. One thing I would like to bring to the table, though, is there could be a reason outside of the excuses, you know, that he's given with the bicep and the leg and the ring walk. that something was wrong. There is one other possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, this is the second time getting in the ring with this man.
Yeah.
And he gave this man everything that he could. And remember the face expression that he had when he thought he had won.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned around and looked, and he saw the very man that he knocked down and he thought knocked out standing.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're saying to yourself, I gave him everything that I got, and the man still got up.
Yeah.
And I think and knowing that he didn't do as great as the cards probably would lead you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of us feel that he really lost that first fight. Going into the second fight like that could have done something to his confidence, which would have given him that kind of, the kind of vibe that he was putting off.
Yeah.
So, but both are. I'm not saying that your theory is, it's still very educated, very possible. It could be it could be a mix of the two, to be honest.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I absolutely believe that it could be a mix of the two. It totally could be a mix of the two. The Boxing Jedi, your last word on this before we move along?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything to add?
Yeah, I just think that if he's saying that he wasn't ready from the first bell, meaning the first fight, then he doubted himself all the way from the beginning. And I think that all his fans have to take him verbatim so they can calm down and they can actually see that even Deontay Wilder doubted himself. He doubted himself in this fight. He's saying it now. So you guys have to calm down, no matter how you want to put it. I think I just saw, I don't know if they was said in jest or if they were serious about it, but I saw in the comment section, it said something about Wilder is the face of boxing. See, stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that is exactly what dilutes you, son. So you got to relax and just, take a deep breath. If you smoke him, you know what I mean? And take a look at exactly what Wilder is saying here. Wilder himself doubted himself from the first bell, not the second bell from the second fight, the very first fight. And what happened? He fought that way. He fought like he's saying, because Fury was able to put hands on this guy. And then what happened? He, like Red Glove said, he took the very, very best that he gave him. He got up like The Undertaker, Mark Callis. And what happened? The second fight, Fury had his number. Deontay Wilder knew this. His corner knew this. And without them basics, baby, there's no way he's going to have to graduate. So now should be the time where, like I said, take time off. Whatever Fury road takes or wherever, chase that title from whoever. If you're really serious about fighting Joshua now it can actually be done on your behalf now, because now you're hungrier now. And if Fury loses to Joshua in the future, right? Let's just say if he holds off and doesn't fight in October, then hey, it's you and Joshua. Now, if Fury wins, it'll be you and Fury again. So both fights would be anticipated, but not now. I don't think a Fury Wilder 3 now is anticipated. We all know what's going to happen. We all know he's not ready. We want to be behind Wilder here in the United States and possibly in England, anywhere in Europe. But the problem here is we know he doesn't have those dance steps. Who wants to see someone on stage performing or dancing without having the proper training? What is that? What is that performance going to look like? People are going to get up and say, "Oh God." So let's just say if he fights Fury the third time, like everyone has been saying, Fury's going to have his number because of those basics. He's going to be able to create his own angles as to where, and his own pockets as to where Wilder's not going to have to give those to him. And he's possibly going to give it to him like he was the last two fights without him even noticing this. See, these are things that Wilder has to just set back. That's my thing.
Yes. A lot of possibilities. Ultimately, what I feel is that if Deontay Wilder wasn't ready, then he should have postponed the damn fight. Pure and simple. Now, don't get it twisted. I think the Fury was gonna win anyway. Fury was my pick. I changed my pick in the last week when I rewatched the first fight, and I realized that all Fury had to do was continue on from the second half of the 12th round. And when he bought in Sugar Hill, I saw, yeah. He's thinking, I'm thinking the way he's thinking. It's just going to be a continuation from the second half of the 12th round after he got dropped and got back up. It was going to be a continuation of that. That was what I felt in the last week. So the last 2 shows prior to the fight, last 2 live shows, anybody disbelieves, go back and check. I changed my pick from Deontay Wilder winning to Tyson Fury. And that's what came to pass. So yeah, it's on him. If he wasn't ready, if he was injured, it's on him. So no excuses can be accepted. Once you, what do you call it? Once you cross the mark, once you step over that chalk mark, you are ready for combat. And you stepped over that chalk mark. So that was a declaration that he's ready for combat. And so it can be no excuse. It don't matter if his leg was falling off. He didn't call off the fight. And so we have to take it that was the best Deontay Wilder on the night. So there can be no excuses. He turned up to fight. He didn't call it off. So boom. It doesn't matter if he says he was a zombie, a ghost, whatever. Somebody worked witchcraft on him, whatever. He turned up to fight. He didn't call it off. And so that's on him. That's Deontay Wilder.
Hey, Raph. Imagine Mike Tyson making an excuse like that. Guys, I know it's been like 2 months, but the reason why I lost is because I tore my rectum. It was spinal.
Yeah, he don't work. Once you turn up, if he was injured, it was his obligation to pull it off, call it off. He did not do so, and so it is entirely upon him. Okay, so I think we've cut that up nicely. And so we move on. Let me get this lined up now. Where's the banner? Let's bring that off. Change the banner. Boom. And boom. Okay. We're gonna have to talk about this. Devin Haney. Devin Haney says he is no racist and rejects discrimination of any kind. We're gonna have to go into this. I've already done so. I've already done a show on this. Anybody who has not checked it out, go check it out. And don't forget, we got Rick Glazer on the Wednesday show, and then on the Friday show, we're chopping up another classic fight. If you didn't see the inaugural episode of the new series that we're doing over here at Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, if you didn't see that, you need to go check it out, because John and I went in. Serious debate on ended up being about Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis. If you haven't seen that, do yourself a favor and check it out at some point. But for now, we're going into this. Don't forget Rick Glazer on Wednesday. Boxing Talk with Raphie special Q&A with Rick Glazer. Okay, but straight away, we're looking at this. Devin Haney says he's no racist, rejects discrimination of any kind. The WBC lightweight champion in recess, Devin Haney, came under fire on Friday when a video surfaced of the boxer making statements that some fans and industry figures perceive to be of a racial nature. In response to a viewer on 78 Sports, in response to a comment on 78 Sports TV, Haney gave his take on a potential future fight with unified lightweight champion Vasily Lomachenko. I'll tell you this, I'll never lose to a white boy in my life. I don't care what nobody got to say. Fight a white boy 10 times, I'm going to beat him 10 times. Statement began to circulate very, very quickly on social media and created an immediate backlash. Okay, Haney's comments were a mirror image of an incident that took place in 2008 when Bernard Hopkins said he would never let a white boy beat me during a face-to-face confrontation with Joe Calzaghe, who went on to win a unanimous decision when the two boxers finally met in the ring. Lightweight contender Ryan Garcia, who fought Haney in the amateurs and may potentially fight him in the pros, gave his take on the matter. We should all respect everyone from every race and see who the best man is. I respect Devin Haney, and I believe he didn't mean this with any racial intent. But let's all respect each other for the love of the sport. With tensions growing on social media, Haney reacted and quickly rejected incoming claims that he was a racist. I'm not racist, and I never will be racist. I'm chasing greatness, Haney said. World Boxing Council President Mauricio Suleiman reached out to the 21-year-old fighter to discuss the matter. I just had a very positive conversation with Mauricio. Oh, I thought that was Mauricio talking. I just had a very positive conversation with Mauricio Suleiman, president of the WBC, and confirmed to him directly my commitment to be a role model, and my absolute rejection of discrimination of any kind. Last year, Haney captured the vacant WBC lightweight title, but then was sidelined with an injury and declared champion in a recess until he's able to fight. Haney, now fully healed, has already submitted a petition to reclaim his world title status. Okay, so let me stop sharing that. Let me do that, and then come back over into the appropriate window and work one final thing, and then we're ready to cook on this. And I think I'll open it up. See, when you go back in history, where is it? When you go back in history, show, hide. When you go back in the history of the sport, I remember another fella. By the name of Alan Minter. When he was facing the marvelous Marvin Hagler, made the statement. I remember it. Made the statement. I will never let a black man beat me. No black man is going to beat me. No black man is going to take my belt. I also remember Kovalev. I remember Kovalev with a monkey emblem. When he was facing Adonis Stevens, trying to infer in some banana business like they do in some European football games. It's made illegal now, throwing bananas on the field. I think Italy is known for that kind of stuff, even though they're trying to stamp it out over there. Do these statements have any place in the sport? I'm going to go with the red-gloved militant first. And forget about my question. Just go with the flow. Go with how you feel. Say what you feel, red-gloved militant.
Hey, I'm actually going to have to drop off right now. My apologies.
No problem.
I got to take care of, man.
No
but
problem.
I appreciate you having me.
100%. That is the Red Glove Militant. Go check him out. He's got his own channel. Much appreciated. He's a supporter of the channel. So, and then there were two. The Boxing Jedi coming up to the pinnacle of the show. Your feelings, your thoughts, your observations. How do you feel about this situation?
Well, I'm just gonna say, okay, he's young. Okay, yeah, okay, all right, we got that out the way. Now let's talk about it as men. He's racist, man. Okay, Bernard Hopkins was one who, if I'm not mistaken, was always ranting. I think it was Jim Gray's first interview. he was ranting to Jim Gray about politics and sports and how they don't tend to black fighters and all this stuff. Basically what the LDBC has been on. Then after that, notice he's been going up the ladder, and he got into Golden Boy. Something racist was sent to Golden Boy as to some documents or whatever that was said or email. Yeah. And he didn't step up to the plate. So there we go, as to them using that to their benefit. Now, Leigh Haney, that's the bodybuilder, my bad. Devin Haney.
Yeah.
He's young, stupid, and of course, he's going to repeat or he's going to be told exactly what to be, said. And you can also see that the people that are around him are not healthy people. Especially when it comes to mental health like this, because think about this, Raph. Think about this. You have a young fighter, and that he's growing, and especially mentally as well, besides physically. Now, your responsibility while you're with him, especially when you hear him saying this, so nobody can say, "Oh, but what he does out of the ring is out of the ring." No, he said this during him doing his profession, his job. So it is the responsibility of his manager or whoever that's how, to tell him, listen, kid, this is bad for business. Number one. Number two, this is very bad for the sport. If they're going to make some type of edge off of it where they're going to make money and stuff like that, it's still not healthy for the sport. Like I mentioned earlier, on your podcast.
Yeah.
Look what happened with Cooney and
Larry Holmes.
Yeah, Larry Holmes, right. It wasn't healthy after that.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't healthy after that. And you remember, you had a lot of Italian guys, fighting, and beating up the black guys, and the same thing, during that going on. Same thing with the black African Americans going up against the Puerto Rican Americans here. Every time, Benitez, was fighting Sugar Ray or something like that, or Gomez. You know what I mean? Like, of course, it's good to be nationalistic, but this is not that. This is him being very, very racist. And it's very, very unhealthy for the sport to be this way. If you're racist and you can't self-contain that and just do your job, then I'm not one to say then don't work, because then that would land on every platform, in life as to working in every job place. But it just doesn't belong in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a disability in itself. Being racist is a disability.
100%. 100%. Being racist is a disability. I totally agree. What was my take on it? Haney is young, and do I think he's racist? I don't know him to know if he's racist or not, but certainly he doesn't help himself with that comment. Also, however, I would have to look at the platform, look where he was. Somebody put a battery in Haney's back. He was on 78 Sports. He was the leader, I think one of the leaders of the LDBC. And was he influenced? Was he influenced by the environment? Young, 21, a little bit of bravado. What is it? What's the term? Braggadocio, whatever they call it. Bravado or being braggadocious. Braggadocious, both of them. Either of the above. I think that probably played a part in it. But we live in a mixed world now. It's a mixed world now. It's not like China's isolated and Russia's isolated. No. There's trouble. We have social media, information, technology, people moving physically, and it's a mixed world, and so fighters have to bear that in mind when they speak. You have to watch your utterances, even though he's only 21. Still should know better than that. Nobody made him say what he said. He said it of his own accord, regardless of his environment. Absolutely. I totally agree. Marla. Good observation. So You're responsible. Everybody's responsible for the words which they utter. And I have to agree with the Boxing Jedi when he says that racism, wherever it is, wherever it comes from, wherever it's coming from, or the left, to the right, wherever, it is a mental disability. And with that, we've come to the end of the show. It's been a good one.
Oh yeah,
it's been a good one. So what can we say? The Boxing Jedi. Would you please like to give your final words?
Yes, sir. I would like to tell each and every boxing head, man, to, look for channels, such as Raphie's, myself, the Red Glove, Big Boy Boxing, Malo when he opens his up. Everybody, man, just, do your thing. Peace to Philip Carl Roberts, of course, and Mala, and peace to Big Boys Boxing as well. Go check him out, and everybody keep with this great boxing content, man, and keep showing those old school fight footage, films and shit. Cause I've been doing that, and Raph is doing it. Everybody's going to do it. And if everybody's going to be in the equation, then we're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? So everybody, man, one love, man. And let's keep this YTBC, meaning YouTube boxing community, pumping the way it's going. Raph, good work, man. Love your work ethic, my brother. Love you. One love to England, of course, man. All my people over there, and especially Ireland and everyone else, man. Love you guys, man. Peace and stay safe, and wash your hands and your buttocks. Peace, my brother.
Take care. And that was the Boxing Jedi. And then, yeah, absolutely. Go check him out too. The Boxing Jedi, Big Boys Boxing. Phil Walker came on earlier. And of course, Red Glove Militant, friend of the channel, very helpful. Yes. No smoke from Jefe. Jefe is still stuck. Must be still stuck up in the mountain. Jefe, what happened to you, bro? What happened to you? We had a table set. We had a place set for you at the table. You didn't show, bro. Come on, bro. What's going on? Actually, good luck, Jefe. You're putting in the work. Hard work pays off. So actually, good luck to you. You're young like Haney, probably the same age, a little bit crazy. That's cool. You're doing it. You're not sitting down on your hands yet. You're out there in the field and you're working. So good luck to you. Kind of funny guy. So where we at? Yes, AD up in the building. Good to see AD. Hope everything is well. Hope you're staying COVID free. What else we got? No smoke, Jefe. Good one, Raphie. Got a fine group here. Absolutely. Absolutement. Jaffa Cakes. Okay, let's have a look. What's going on? Yeah, don't forget. Next up, let's give you the agenda for this week. Next up on Wednesday, obviously the videos, I'll be producing the videos. But next up for the live show will be Wednesday, when we will host none other than Rick Glazer coming here for a live Q&A. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. If you got Twitter, hit me up, subscribe to me on Twitter. Share the videos on your social media, all forms of social media. Let's get the good word out. Good things are happening over here. So I want to give a thank once again, a shout out to everybody who jumped on. Big Boys Boxing. Who's next? Phil Walker, the Red Glove Militant, and the Boxing Jedi. So, this has been Boxing Talk with Raphie 116. We're moving, folks. We're moving. 116, and it has been a good one. Look out for the videos. Look out for the live shows. Share the videos. It's been a good one. Thank you to everyone in attendance. It's the Phil Carl Roberts. It's the L. No. It's the BH. It's the Dr. Wooduck. It's the AK Jr. It's the AD. It's the Marla. It's the Gucci Kid. It is the Big Boys Boxing and PC Jacob. And who have I missed? Who have I missed? It's the DJ Georgie Porgy. Didn't even see a Georgie Porgy. So the Gucci Kid. And that's all for tonight. And the only thing left for me to say is blessed.